guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another meal prep video. We're just going to jump right into this week's meal prep. We're going to start off with some green chili enchiladas that I'll be making for one of my lunches. I'm going to use some of these Foster Farms grilled strips, some fat-free cheddar, some of these La Venturita soft taco size tortillas. I found these hatch chili green chilies at grocery outlet. We're also going to use some green enchilada sauce, some cottage cheese. I'm using fat-free. When I eat cottage cheese, I prefer to use the 2%, but since we're cooking with it, we're just going to use the fat-free. We also need some spices, and if you guys are new to my channel, I hope you'll take some time to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I do meal preps every single week. Also, I am over on Instagram, so if you want to follow me over there, and that is the best place to contact me is Instagram as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into putting these together. So I'm just going to spray. I'm just making enough for 2 servings because I like to do 2 different lunches each week. So I'm just going to make this in this little tiny casserole dish. I'm pouring just a little bit of the green enchilada sauce on the bottom. Just kind of spreading that around, but I didn't want it to stick, so I went ahead and sprayed it with non-stick cooking spray as well. So I have my chicken here. I'm measuring out about 1/2 cup of cottage cheese. Now, if you're not a cottage cheese fan, you could use cream cheese in this, which is what the original recipe called for, or you could blend up the cottage cheese until it's liquefied, or just more like a kind of a paste is what it turns out to be, and then you don't taste it at the curds, because most people don't like cottage cheese because of the curds. I don't mind it. I like to add it for a little bit extra protein. I added in some minced garlic, and now I'm going to add in some of these green chilies. You could just use also a can of diced green chilies. This I found, like I said, I found at grocery outlet, and I just thought I would give it a try. But they are really good, really tasty. I did kind of taste them, and they have a nice flavor. These are flame roasted. We're going to add in some chili powder. I would say maybe about a teaspoon in this 2 serving. I will link the original recipe down below. The only thing I changed that was different was the cottage cheese and the cream cheese. Like, they used cream cheese in theirs. I'm going to add a little bit of cumin as well, and then I'm going to add in some of this Kinder salt, pepper, garlic. That's just kind of my go-to blend. I love this stuff. I love the Kinder seasonings. They are just so good, and they have so many different blends that I love so much. So we're going to add that in there and just kind of give it a good stir. And like I said, remember, you can leave out the cottage cheese. Don't let that take away from this recipe. You could use, like I said, cream cheese or just blend up the cottage cheese, but give it a try. Give it a try. I'll add that extra protein in there. We're going to add in some fat-free cheddar. I actually wanted reduced fat cheddar, but my Walmart must have been out because they substituted this. So I did add in a 1/2 cup, although you'll see I don't use all of this mixture. So I ended up going back into the tracker and only doing 3/4 cup total. So I figure between what we're going to put on top and what I put inside the tortillas, we use probably total about 3/4 cup. So again, if you are making this, kind of make sure you plug it into your tracker so you know what your points are with the ingredients you're using. So I'm just kind of scooping them in here. I'm not really, worrying too much about how much I put in. I just want to give a good, nice chunky kind of tortilla filled or enchilada. I want to make sure it has enough filling in there so I get that extra protein and everything. And I'm just kind of rolling them up and putting them in here. These tortillas, I remembered after I made these that I think I had an issue using these tortillas before, but it was the larger ones, I believe, is what I used for and they are a little bit thinner. The soft taco size of this La Venturita are a little bit thicker, so I think they're going to be better, but I keep forgetting that I want to make the same recipe using the corn tortillas. So maybe like using those thin corn tortillas or the low carb tortillas that you can get, the corn ones. So I keep forgetting that, but these did turn out really good. So like I said, I think it's because the bigger tortillas are a lot thinner, but this is how much mixture I left, probably enough for 1 more tortilla. So that's what I did, is I ended up just making an extra one and just trying it. So like I said, it turned out really good, but I just made 1 little extra, put it in a little dish and put it in the oven. So we're just going to put on the rest of that green enchilada sauce here, and then we're going to add on another 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese on top. And here is the finished product. So this is going to go into a 350-degree oven. I'm going to cover it with foil first, put it in there for 15 minutes. Then I'll take the foil off and let the cheese melt, so put it on for like another 10 minutes. While that is in the oven, we're going to make our cauliflower rice. So I have my rice cauliflower that I already put in the microwave, so it's thawed out. I'm going to use this tomato bouillon, which I absolutely love, and then some of the Kinder's taco blend. Now, my biggest tip for making cauliflower rice, for people who do not like cauliflower rice, here's my biggest tip. So first I spray a little bit of cooking spray in my pan here. And like I said, I cook the cauliflower rice till it's all the way cooked through, so it's kind of liquidy. And that's the difference between regular rice, of course, and cauliflower rice. Cauliflower rice tends to be a little liquidy. Now, because I put it in the microwave and it's all cooked through, I went ahead and I'm not adding any water to this. I'm just going to pour the bouillon directly in there. So I probably used total maybe about a tablespoon to this whole bag of cauliflower rice. Now, you can use this tomato bouillon if you're using regular rice as well, but of course you're going to want to add water to it at that point. So whatever amount of water that you add to your regular rice, just add some of this tomato bouillon, and it is so good. So I just added the tomato bouillon, some of the taco seasoning, and now what I'm doing here is I'm flattening it all out, and then I have it on about 8 on my stove. So it's on like kind of like a medium high. And then I'm just going to walk away from it. I'm going to let it sit there. I'm going to walk away from it, start prepping other things. But you're going to see next, after it sat there, probably for about 6 minutes. But definitely check it because everybody's stove is a little bit different. But I don't know if you can tell here in the video, but you kind of see it's a little bit darker. That's because it's crunchy and it's really dry. And so it has more of a rice texture. And it just doesn't taste as much like cauliflower rice, and it doesn't have like sogginess of cauliflower rice. So this is my favorite way to do this, and it turns out great every single time, and it's just nice and simple. So I'm just going to put this whole entire, so it is actually 4 servings if you look at the back of the cauliflower rice, but I am just going to have 2 servings of this. So I'm just going to split it in half amongst my 2 meal prep containers here, and then I'm just going to put those enchiladas right on top, so you'll see here what they look like. And here they are. So here is, and I'll put the points on the screen, which I believe it was 6 points for the entire serving here. And then the calories and the protein, y'all. This was 47 grams of protein and only 314 calories. So fabulous. It'll be a great, great lunch. My other lunch for the week, now I am totally winging this recipe. So we have some thin sliced chicken breasts. We have some mini gold potatoes, some California style vegetable blend, some green beans, and then this Presidente light cheese that I found at Safeway, and then some grated Parmesan, and then of course my seasoning, the salt, pepper, garlic. So this is what we're gonna do. Like I said, I'm totally winging this. I don't have a recipe for this. So it actually turned out great the first time. I was really surprised. I was, kind of nervous about filming it without knowing how it was gonna turn out. But we have 4 tablespoons of that whipped cheese. And then I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of this grated Parmesan. Oh, nope. It looks like I only used 2 tablespoons of the grated Parmesan. I was thinking I used 3 tablespoons, so I used 2 tablespoons of it. We're going to mix that up, and that's the mixture that's going to go on top of the chicken. So meanwhile, I am getting my sheet pan that I just put a piece of parchment paper on there just for easy cleanup. So you can use foil, parchment paper, whatever you like. And then I have my 2 thin sliced chicken breasts here, and I'm just going to spread this cheese mixture on top. Now it's kind of inspired because on Pinterest I found this recipe that somebody used mayo and they put spinach and I don't know, some other things, all together in it, like with, I think it was cheese, some mayo and some spinach, and they just, whipped it all up and then put that on top. And I thought, you know what? I have that cheese that I need to use up that I actually bought because I could not find any Laughing Cow cheese. So I bought this instead of the Laughing Cow to use in a different recipe. I used it on wraps and it was so good. Now it's more points. So it's 2 points for 2 tablespoons of it, where a Laughing Cow, but a Laughing Cow, if you think about it, is probably only a tablespoon, like a Laughing Cow wedge. I can't imagine that it's 2 tablespoons, but I don't know. Anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and spread this on here, but I will be buying this spread again. I just think it's totally worth the points, and it's just really good. Okay, so we have our potatoes here. So I have 8 ounces of uncooked baby potatoes. I'm spraying with some cooking spray. And then we're going to add in some more of this grated Parmesan. So I'm just going to do 1 teaspoon of this, and this is my half teaspoon measuring spoon. So we're going to do 1 teaspoon of this, and then of course my salt, pepper, garlic on there as well. And I just kind of wanted this to have like kind of just all tie together. So that's why I'm adding that Parmesan in there. I just figured all tie together. Again in here, but we have lots of veggies. So I used about 3/4 of the bag of the vegetable mix. And then I used about 3/4 of the bag of the green beans because I want extra veggies in this. So because this is a little bit more, I'm going to do 1.5 teaspoons of this grated Parmesan. And then, of course, we'll go in with our salt, pepper, garlic, and then we'll just toss that around. And I just figure having all the same ingredients in everything, it's just all going to tie this meal kind of all together and just add a lot of flavor. So we have it on our sheet pan here. This is going to go into a 400-degree oven, and now it's going to depend on the thickness of your chicken. These were really thin chicken breasts, so I put mine in for 20 minutes, and it came out perfect, but definitely you need to make sure that it's whatever your oven, make sure your chicken is done. And you'll see here what it looked like when it came out of the oven. And you guys, the smell of this when it was cooking, oh my goodness. And I did take a little piece and tried it, and it turned out so good. So I did weigh out the potatoes evenly, and then I have our veggies and our chicken, and you'll see here on the screen everything, the total. So it was 7 points for this, mostly because of all the cheese. And then, but still, look at that protein on this, and not very many calories. Next up, we're going to go ahead and make a couple of the protein loaves that I made last week. So I'll just show you the whole thing again, just in case you didn't see last week's meal prep video. I'm using Devotion protein powder. Now, last week I made a cinnamon one and an angel food cake one. This week I'm making the salted caramel cone and the brownie batter. And then we have our pumpkin, our rolled oats, our egg whites, and the baking powder. So simple, y'all. And I absolutely love these. So I had these one time with nothing. I just put them in my air fryer to heat them up. I cut it in half, put it in my air fryer to heat it up. So good. The second one I had, I cut it in half, put it in my air fryer, and then after it was done, I put 1 tablespoon, so a half a tablespoon on each side of the I Can't Believe It's Not Butter Light, and it was so much better like that. I think you could probably add on, maybe make some peanut butter out of PB2 and spread that on top if you wanted, but the butter was just enough. I cannot recommend this protein loaf enough. I really think you can use any protein powder. I wanted to try it with the Devotion protein powder because I've been wanting to try this protein powder for a long time. So that's the reason why I used it with this. But any protein powder that bakes up really well, then I would use that. I have had some issues in the past finding protein powder that you can bake with. It comes out flat sometimes, kind of dense, kind of hard. It does not with this. It is so nice and fluffy. And I know this protein powder is a little expensive, but I do recommend it. I don't personally have a code for it, but I just went online and I was able to find somebody who had a code. I just went on Instagram, typed in Devotion protein powder, found somebody who had a code. So that's what I used. I am going to sign up for their affiliate program though, because now that I've tried it and I really like it, I definitely want to recommend it to you guys. But until then, go ahead and just go out there and give it a try. They do have sample packs, which is what I have here. So since I talked through that entire process, this next one, I will tell you the measurements and everything for these protein loaves. So one of these little packets, again, these are the trial packets. One of these little packets is equal to 1 scoop. So if you do buy the big tub of it, it's 1 scoop is equal to these packets. So I'm just putting in basically 1 scoop of protein powder into my bowl here. And then we are going to do 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 cup of rolled oats, and then a 1/4 cup of, well, I'm going to give it a stir because these are all the dry ingredients. And then we're going to do a 1/4 cup of pumpkin, and it's just pumpkin puree. You could also use applesauce. Last week I used applesauce on one of them, and I just preferred the pumpkin. I felt like the pumpkin one was a little bit moister, but I will use both pumpkin and applesauce. And the pumpkin doesn't overtake the flavor of the mix at all. And then we're doing a 1/4 cup of egg whites. Now, I don't know if you could use a full egg or if you have to use egg whites. I have no idea. Every recipe that I've seen, even on Pinterest or on TikTok, has used egg whites. So I have no idea if you can use just a full egg. And then you just stir that up really well, and it's that simple, y'all. That simple. Now, these little containers I'm using, I got these at Safeway. You can reuse them because they're super thick. They're like a heavy-duty mini loaf pan, and they're supposed to just be, you know, one use and toss away, but these are the heavy duty ones, and I love them. They're like 5 inches, like 5 3, I don't know, 5 1/3 inches or something like that. But anyway, these are going into a 350-degree oven. Now, last week they took 25 minutes to cook. This week, the salted caramel one was done in 15 minutes. The brownie batter one took 20 minutes. So I would start with 15 at 350 and then go from there. And here you'll see they're 207 calories using the pumpkin, and they are 4 points. Highly recommend. You'll see these probably every single week for a while. And that is my meal prep for the week, you guys. Thank you so much, as always, for taking time out of your day to watch my videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.